Stephanie Smothers is a young mom blogger. She reached out to her followers, telling that her friend Emily had been missing for 5 days. Stephanie takes it very hard and can't hold back her tears. To clarify the situation, she told her followers about her acquaintance with Emily. On that day, there was a children's event at the school where Stephanie's son, Miles, attends. Stephanie is a very energetic woman and willingly participates in all activities. Other parents never fail to be amazed at her proactivity. In the same class, there is Nikki, the son of the spectacular blonde Emily Nelson. Stephanie knew right away that she was different. It was thanks to their children wanting to play together that the women got to know each other. When Emily suggested that Stephanie come over for a drink, she agreed. Emily lives in a large luxurious house. She shared that she used to pose for an artist to pay for college, but that wild life is now in the past. Unlike self-assured Emily, Stephanie feels a little stiff. As Emily poured the drinks, she talked about her husband Sean, who wrote a book and gained fame 10 years ago. Since then, he hasn't written anything. Stephanie is a widow. Her husband deceased in a car accident. Her brother was in the same car. So Stephanie lost the two most precious people to her. Currently, as a single mother, Stephanie doesn't plan on entering new relationships. She lives modestly but does everything for the sake of her son. Sean, Emily's husband, arrived. The spouses kissed, completely uninhibited by Stephanie. They seemed like the perfect couple. Stephanie continues to run her blog for young moms. Soon she met Emily again. When Stephanie took her photo, Emily insistently asked her to delete the picture. Then Emily suggested her new friend have a drink. Stephanie had a little gift for Emily, a homemade bracelet. Emily was very touched. No one had ever made anything like that for her. The women got drunk and had a heart-to-heart talk. Stephanie shared that her father passed away when she was in high school. A guy named Chris attended the funeral. He was an exact replica of her father when he was young. Stephanie's mother seemed to have seen a ghost. It turned out that Chris was the father's son by another woman. The brother and sister talked for a long time. Stephanie was broken by the loss of the father, who was the only one who understood her. Eventually a passion arose between her and Chris. Stephanie still feels guilty to this day. Hearing this, Emily was shocked. She finds herself liking Stephanie more and more. Emily invited her new friend to stay for dinner. The next morning, Stephanie received a call from Emily, who had a simple favor for her. Of course, Stephanie agreed to pick up Nikki from school. Emily, who had a lot of work to do, thanked her friend for the help. As promised, Stephanie picked up the boys from school. They had a great time together. However, it was already late, and Emily wasn't responding to messages or calls. Stephanie started to worry. 2 days had passed, and Emily still hadn't shown up. Stephanie called her office. The secretary said that Emily supposedly urgently flew to Miami. It turns out that Sean, who was in some ward, also had no idea where his wife was. He said he would fly in tomorrow and pick up Nikki. As promised, Sean arrived to take his son. Neither the secretary nor Sean could reach Emily. Sean suggested calling the police. For the past 3 days, the man had been in London with his sick mother. The officers were interested in whether there had been any disagreements between the spouses. Stephanie said that Emily and Sean had an exemplary marriage. The police took statements and said they would start an investigation. When the officers left, Sean told Stephanie that his wife was a mystery. She hated being photographed and was like a beautiful ghost. Since it was late, Stephanie offered Sean to stay overnight at her place. The next morning, she was surprised when Sean cooked breakfast. It seemed like he was a good father. Stephanie told in her blog about the missing friend who disappeared 4 days ago. Her husband had a solid alibi, so he was excluded from the list of suspects. Stephanie intended to start her own investigation and went to the office where Emily worked. She couldn't get any information from the receptionist, so she demanded a meeting with Emily's boss, Dennis Nylon. However, Dennis, who is a leading fashion designer, was clearly not inclined to talk. Emily worked in the PR department and often made decisions independently, without consulting the management. Determined, Stephanie secretly sneaked into Emily's office room to look for clues. At one point she saw a photo of Emily with the caption "Gotta have faith." Stephanie stole the envelope but couldn't leave unnoticed. Dennis blocked her way. Remembering Emily's advice, Stephanie started to behave confidently and threatened Dennis that if he didn't let her go right now, she would ruin his reputation. Surprisingly, it worked. Now Stephanie had a photo of Emily. She handed out leaflets to passers-by and comforted Sean in every way possible. Other parents were convinced that Stephanie simply wanted to snatch Emily's husband. Stephanie stayed at Sean's house to prepare lunch. It was new for Sean since his wife never cooked. The detective arrived, finding it strange that the missing woman's friend was spending time with her husband. The detective also mentioned that Emily wasn't on the passenger list for the Miami flight. However, she rented a car, paying in cash. The officer considered that Emily had a lover, but Sean didn't believe it. Stephanie overheard their conversation. As Stephanie was about to leave, Sean took her hand and thanked her for the help. Stephanie called on her followers to help in the search for Emily, giving special signs of the missing woman. Soon one of her followers wrote that she might have seen Emily in Michigan. Stephanie immediately informed the police. Shortly after, the police called Sean, informing him that Emily's car had been found in a lake. Her body was also found there. Stephanie had to deliver the sad news to her followers. Seeing the lifeless wife, Sean couldn't contain his emotions. Soon the funeral took place. Stephanie helped organize the memorial, sincerely condoling Sean. Nikki and Miles got into a fight. Nikki blamed Stephanie for everything, thinking she wanted to take his mother's place. Stephanie took control of the situation and had a heart-to-heart talk with Nikki, then put him to bed. Sean was depressed, not knowing how to go on. Stephanie embraced Sean to support him. At some point he kissed her, and passion ignited between them. The next morning, Stephanie experienced conflicting feelings. She entered Emily's luxurious wardrobe and tried on one of her dresses. At that moment the doorbell rang. The zipper on the dress got stuck, so Stephanie couldn't take it off. At the doorstep stood the detective who wanted to talk to Stephanie about Emily. According to the autopsy results, Emily had been abusing alcohol and substances. Stephanie was shocked by what she heard. The detective noticed Stephanie wearing an expensive dress. He also mentioned that the day before Emily's disappearance, the husband took out a $4 million insurance policy on her. Emily didn't know what to say and advised the detective to pay attention to Emily's boss. However, it turned out that Dennis Nylon had already contacted the police and told them about Stephanie's suspicious behavior. Stephanie is determined to continue her own investigation and uncover the truth. Soon she saw Sean hugging some girl in town. Perhaps Sean isn't as good a person as Stephanie thought. Over dinner she asked him leading questions. Suddenly Nikki said he saw his mother today. She asked him to say hello to Stephanie. Miles confirmed his words. Later on the nightstand by the bed, Stephanie found the same bracelet she had given Emily. Stephanie shared her suspicions with Sean. She believes that Emily is alive. Sean said it's impossible because they saw her body with their own eyes. The man also said that Emily was not what Stephanie thought she was. According to Sean, some time ago Emily stole his mother's family ring and appropriated it for herself. Stephanie was shocked because Emily said that Sean's mother had given her this ring. When Sean offered Stephanie to move in with him, she asked why he took out insurance on his wife. Sean explained that it was Emily's initiative. He also said that his wife was a pathological liar. Sean and Stephanie confessed their love for each other. Soon Stephanie moved in with her new beloved and was sorting out some Emily's belongings, after which she put her house up for sale. Stephanie believed that now she would start a new beautiful life. But when she entered the dressing room again, all of Emily's things were in their place. Stephanie was really freaked out and blogged about the incident. She didn't seek to replace Emily, but wanted to make Sean and Nikki happy. One day Nikki handed Stephanie an envelope from his mom. Inside was a photograph of Stephanie's brother. Only Emily knew about this story. Suddenly the phone rang. Stephanie heard Emily's voice, who said she was watching her right now. Stephanie immediately went to Sean and directly asked what game he and Emily were playing. Sean didn't understand what she was talking about. Their conversation was interrupted by Beth, Sean's student. Stephanie had seen them hugging before. When Beth left, Sean assured Stephanie that Emily was not alive. Stephanie no longer knows what is true and what is false. At home, she remembers how she entrusted her secret to Emily. She told how the husband started suspecting that Chris was her lover. Davis also believed that Miles was not his child. Stephanie tried to stop her brother and husband from going for a ride and having a man-to-man talk. It was on that day that they had the accident. Stephanie blames herself for it. It seemed like Emily was the only person who understood and didn't judge Stephanie. In the present, she found the artist Diana Hyland, for whom Emily had posed. But Diana said that the girl's name was not Emily but Claudia. She was a model and Diana's muse. It was thanks to Emily that her paintings became successful. Diana was charmed by Emily and paid for her college education. But Emily turned out to be a common swindler, and after receiving the money disappeared. Diana's career was ruined. Before Stephanie left, Diana gave her Emily's t-shirt with the emblem of a summer camp. Stephanie left a voicemail message for Sean, saying that she wanted a couple of days alone to experience the pain of loss. She left the boys with her acquaintance. Stephanie visited a children's camp in Michigan. It turned out that Emily and another girl, who was an exact replica of her, were here. Their names were Hope and Faith McClandon. Stephanie began to search for any information about her friend's dark past, which led her to the McClandon Foundation. Stephanie went there disguised as a cleaner. Apparently, Mr. and Mrs. McClandon were very religious people. They had 2 daughters. So Stephanie finally confirmed that Emily had a twin sister. Casually, Stephanie asked Mrs. McClandon about her daughters. The woman revealed that Faith had mental health issues. Hope tried to help her sister, but in vain. Seeing Emily's photograph, Margaret McClandon recognized her as her daughter Faith. The woman mentioned a fire, but Stephanie didn't have time to learn the details because Bruce, the woman's unsociable husband, returned. Stephanie escaped under a far-fetched pretext, after which she went to the archives and studied all the materials about the arsons. Later, Stephanie revealed some details in her blog. Upon learning about it, Emily was furious. She didn't expect Stephanie to start digging into her past. Moreover, Stephanie hinted in her video that she knew about Emily's twin sister. Now Stephanie has no doubt that the couple orchestrated all of this for insurance payouts. She also knows that the sisters Hope and Faith disappeared without a trace after that fire. The deceased wife met with Sean. It turned out he was unaware of her sinister plan. Emily confessed that she hated her job, so she staged her death for the insurance money. Showing her husband a gun, Emily made it clear that he should cooperate. Sean agreed because he knows his wife is insane. If he had refused, he would have paid with his life. At home, Sean was met by Stephanie and an insurance agent. Stephanie explained that the body found in the lake may not belong to Emily but to her twin sister. If that turns out to be true, Sean won't receive insurance payouts. Later, Stephanie and Emily met at her grave and had a glass of martini. Stephanie made it clear to the friend that she knew the whole truth about her. Hope and Faith's father was very strict. When the sisters were 16, they set a fire. Their father deceased. Emily revealed that after their escape, they attracted too much attention. Seeing beautiful twins, people wanted to photograph them. That's why they hate being photographed so much. In the end, the sisters decided to part ways. Hope fled to Mexico, and Faith settled in New York. Her life got better, but 14 years later the sister found her. They agreed to meet at the cabin in the camp where they used to hide from their father. Colleagues thought Emily was on a business trip to Miami. Unlike her sister, Hope led an immoral lifestyle. She planned to extort money from Emily by threatening to tell the police their secret. Emily couldn't allow that because she had the son. Hope suggested that they take a swim in the lake. Emily agreed, and then seizing the moment, she took her sister's life. There was no turning back, so Emily put the ring on Faith's finger and staged her own death. Emily convinced her friend that it was Sean's idea. But Stephanie foiled their plan to get the insurance. Now all Emily wants is to take her son. At night, as planned with Emily, Stephanie hacked Sean's laptop and planted some incriminating papers in his car. The next morning, Sean found a lot of police in his office room. There was police at the house as well. The detective asked Sean why he didn't inform the police that his wife was alive. Sean wasn't going to discuss it without a lawyer. Stephanie wouldn't let Sean into her house on the grounds that he was a crook. Sean knew right away that Emily was messing with Stephanie's mind. While Sean tried to reach Stephanie, Emily left the motel where she was staying and inflicted injuries on herself. Later, she went to the police station and told the detective her version of events. Thanks to Stephanie's blog, which has become popular, the whole country learned about this story. Sean was arrested, accused of coercing his wife to stage her own death for insurance payouts. Sean was released on bail pending trial, while Emily returned home as if nothing had happened. She was quite pleased with herself, having committed the perfect crime, all thanks to Stephanie's help. Meanwhile, Stephanie, addressing her followers, came to the couple's house and pointed a gun at Sean. Stephanie was displeased that both Sean and Emily were taking advantage of her. Sean once again reiterated that he had no knowledge of his wife's plan, but Stephanie still pulled the trigger. Frightened, Emily confessed that she was the one who took her sister's life. It turns out that Stephanie and Sean purposely staged this play to get Emily to confess. However, Emily had anticipated this turn of events and had already disabled the listening device beforehand. Now the gun was in Emily's hands. When she wounded Sean, Stephanie realized that Emily wasn't joking. But what Emily didn't realize was that Stephanie had a video camera built into the button on her blouse. Right now Stephanie is live streaming to her followers. Emily tried to escape but got hit by a car. The police arrived and arrested her. 6 months later, Stephanie has gained 1 million followers on her blog, while Emily is serving her sentence in prison. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.